Did you know the average person has a 6% chance of getting colon cancer, which is the second leading cause of cancer-related deaths? This is why it's so important that when you turn 50 to get a screening colonoscopy. Now, today I'm going to be discussing how to properly clean and soak a colonoscope, which is what we use during these said colonoscopies. But before we do anything, we need to make sure we're properly gowned and gloved up with extender cuff gloves that come up to here. Now, beginning with our scope in our sink, we need to hook up our leak test. After that, we need to fill up our sink with 5 gallons of water with a temperature ranging from 68 degrees Fahrenheit to 95 degrees Fahrenheit. From here, we will test our leak test by turning the knobs at the handle of the scope. Now, if there's bubbles, you'll leave this leak test hooked up till the end of the process. If there's no bubbles, you can just remove the leak test and push it off to the side. Now, we're ready to put the soap in the water. Now, for the 5 gallons, you'll put in 1 2/3 ounce of soap. But at St. Francis, we just have a button that you push that automatically dispenses this amount each time. You'll put this on a green enzymatic sponge that we use to clean the scope. It has a scope opening to properly clean the scope and put the scope all the way through the sponge. Now, once you're done cleaning it thoroughly, get all the soap wrung out of your sponge, and this is where you'll get your brush, and you'll push the brush end all the way through the end of the scope. You have one end that's really small and one end that's a little larger. The small end will go completely through the end of the scope through each channel, the water channel, the air channel, and the biopsy channel. Now, you'll also use the large side to just push it through each channel, but it won't go all the way through. Now you're ready to begin the scope buddy process. Now from here, you'll use the colonoscope hookup that you'll hook up to each channel and to other parts. You'll also have a cap that goes on the buttons. From here, you'll hook it up to the scope buddy in the soapy water. You'll push start and it'll flush the soapy water through the scope buddy for 2 minutes and it'll flush it all out the scope. Next, you'll pick up that scope and put it into the new sink that'll have 5 gallons of lukewarm water. Press start and it'll flush more warm water all the way through the scope. Once that process is done, you'll drain the sink and you'll mash start one more time and flush just air through the scope to get out all that excess water. Once this is done, you're ready to begin the soaking process. Off to the side, you have a mixture that we call Revital Resort Ox, and you'll place the scope into this mixture for 8 to 10 minutes, no longer than 10 minutes. Now, be sure you don't start your timer until your scope is completely covered with gauze of any parts showing, and that you flush 1 30 milliliter syringe of the mixture through the scope. Once you're done with this and the 8 minutes are up, you'll pull the scope out and put it into a sink that's fresh water that'll also be lukewarm. From here, you'll flush 3 30 milliliter syringes through your scope and 1 10 milliliter syringe of alcohol through your scope. Once that's done, you'll drain the water out of the sink and you'll get your strong air pressure and flush it through the scope until there's no water coming out of the scope's end. Now, you'll unhook that the colonoscope channel hookup and push it off to the side and flush strong air pressure through each channel one more time. Once that's done, you'll take your scope out, you'll hang it up in the cabinet, and you'll wipe it down with a lint-free towel, and you'll hang a clean scope tag on the scope. And that is how you properly clean and soak a colonoscope. This is why it's so important to make sure you get a colonoscopy each year to lower your risk of colon cancer. And this is also why it's so important to follow each step to clean a colonoscope so you clean it properly each time and there's no errors made. Thank you.